So we are live.
Okay, very good. All right, it is 7:01, April 17, 2024. Calls to order a regular meeting of the City Helotes Economic Development Corporation Board of Directors. Just so we do have quorum, we have all directors here except for Vice President Kodowski. So we do. All right, good. Thanks, Matt.
Appreciate that, man.
Yes. So we'll move into open session. Do we have any citizens to be heard? No.
No.
Glenn? Okay, so without any citizens to be heard, we'll go ahead and close our open session and move to consent agenda items numbers 3 through 4. All consent agenda items listed below are considered routine by EDC staff and are intended to be acted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless the director requests it, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. Do I have any requests to remove any items from the consent agenda items?
I'd like to have number 4 removed for discussion.
Okay, so we'll remove number 4 from the consent agenda item and we'll move it into its regular sequence, which would put it as number 7, I guess, on the list of discussion items. So I will now entertain a motion to approve consent agenda item number 3 as written.
So moved.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second for approval. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Consent agenda items is number 3 is approved. So we'll move to our committee reports. And so we have our 5.
We can take number 4 now.
Okay.
Individual item.
Well, okay. You don't want to do committees and then do it individual under number 7 or? I would like.
Rather do it in order.
Okay. Okay. We can do that then. Let's go ahead and then we're going to have number 4 done as a individual discussion item. So in order to open it up for discussion, I will need a motion for discussion and action on item number 4.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. So it's now open for discussion. So Jeff, what you got?
So I was looking at the statement here and I have a couple of questions. Does the state pay the city sales tax monthly, quarterly? How's it paid to the city?
Monthly.
Okay. By my recollection, looking at this correct, we are about $1.3 million short that the city has not credited to us yet.
That is correct. That is correct. We were behind on putting it into our software system. So we do have it. We should have it all up to date by the end of this week. We were just training our new finance director on how to input all this, you know, the revenues, all the journal entries, and he was doing first the court expenses and so forth, and now he's doing the main revenues that are coming into the city. So
when did the new finance director take over?
He took over about a month ago, I want to say. It was about a month where we're in, it was at the beginning of March.
Okay, because there's not been any deposits since October. So there's
So-
November,
so,
December,
yes.
January, February.
So before Tabby left, I noticed that there wasn't those deposits and she did not make them prior to her leaving. You know, they were there in the bank and they were verified, but she just didn't put them into the software system. So being short on staff, I did not have the opportunity. I was the only one that knew how to do that or was trained to do that. And I did not have the opportunity to input those into the software. They have been verified that they have been received by the city. And we do have a spreadsheet that shows the breakdown. We just have not entered them because they have to be individually entered journal entry into the software. I spoke with Glenn about it last week and I told him, I said, I will have everything up to date because I've been training actually several different staff because we've had several different openings in admin. And so that was one of them, and I've been training him. And so he's been training, he's gotten journal entry. I had someone actually come from a different city to help train with all the different modules with finance. And so he's up to date. He knows how to run the software, and now he's just getting us up to date with everything.
Okay, what about the interest that is accrued on that or that we would have accrued? Is that going to be transferred over as well?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Cool.
Right.
Is that, are you gonna move them over in like 5 or 6 itemizations for each month, or is it like one transfer?
So what we do is, it gets transferred, it gets into our, operating account. And then our operating account, it goes into Logic or so forth. And then you get the interest from there. So you will see, the credit for the interest for that. You'll see the credit for anything. So we do move things over as they come in and as we feel that, depending on the expenses of EDC. You know what I mean? So like, if you had a big lump sum, you have so much, if we know a major expense is gonna happen, we're not gonna move that money into our investment pool, because it costs money to move it back into, it costs more money than we would get for interest to move it back into the operating account.
So I guess this will be something that we have a little focus on from the finance side, committee side, and on coming in this next month. I mean, just as a general timeline, Marion, what do you think the timeline is?
The timeline, we should have actually all of the sales tax part entered into the software by the end of the week.
Okay,
So next month it should be current.
Yes, yes, sir.
okay.
Mhm.
Good catch, Jeff. I'm looking now at exactly, we kind of take for granted that our expenditures and the revenue side especially.
Yeah, what caught my mind was we've only received 7.56%. And here we are 50% through our fiscal year.
Right.
So
yeah.
that's what
That's
was the red flag to me.
yeah, especially when it shows this current period at 0. and-
0, correct.
Okay, good.
But that's when I went back and looked, and I looked at them in the past, and it's been October. There was one of them in there that was like $500 done 1 month, but I don't know what that exactly was unless.
Probably the alcoholic beverage sales tax.
Yeah, the mixed
Mixed
beverage
beverage,
sales
yeah.
tax. That was probably that input.
Okay, so we'll need to put a little focus on it to this next month, just to make sure. I agree with you, Jeff, that should be percent of budget wise, should be getting close to 50 on the fiscal.
Good job.
Okay, very
So
good.
then the action would be to approve. And
Yeah.
we need to vote.
Yeah, what I think it's going to do is it's going to be approve the revenue and expense report dated April 11th, based upon it being amended.
Being corrected and up to date by next month.
Yeah. Okay, so can you make that formal motion, Jeff?
So moved.
Okay.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Motion passes. All right, so now I know we're in kind of individual consideration. Glenn, do you want to jump back to the committee reports, or just want to go ahead and move on to number 6, or just stay in order?
I would say if there's any committee reports.
Okay.
I know John usually takes care of the finance. He's not here.
Yeah, I'll give a quick update. Let's just go through our committees. So we have the 5 standing committees, one of them being the executive committee, which is me, John, and Joel. We haven't had a formal meeting, I would say, since our last meeting, but we've had several email type meetings for items that are for future possible tenant improvements and items that may be coming to the full board in the future, but we haven't had anything formal. And hopefully we'll have some of those that will turn into action items here in the near future. Finance side, I think Jeff, you probably have the best update there. Does anybody have anything else to update on the finance committee side? No. It would be helpful too, Glenn, just for future agendas, just because I know we've had to switch up in everybody. Maybe if you could put the names of the different directors next to the actual committee. That way we know if somebody's out, who we can tap onto next. Governance committee, any update? Nope, no update on that. Building Evaluation Committee.
Still evaluating.
All right. Hopefully this is going to turn into the Building Construction Committee, you know, might have to change the name here in the very, very near future. Yes.
Very quick away.
And we'll get an update. This is dealing specifically with the Business and Development Center, the Visitor Center that I think, Glenn, you'll probably have an update here at the end.
Yes, sir.
And then Community Enhancement Committee, same on that. We haven't had any formal meeting on it, but Glenn will have an update on it at the end as well, specifically for what our current project is. Okay. With that, we can move on to item number 6. It is an item for individual consideration. So discussion of an action on approval of an application made by RJ Fight Construction to qualify for a grant reimbursement request under the Retailer and Commercial Tenant Improvement Incentive Program agenda item. Okay. So do I have a motion for discussion and action of approval? All right, we have
I'll second.
and Mr. Lane with a second. So it's now open for discussion. Joel, any comments?
I just wanted to discuss a bit as a board, because we haven't had this situation come up where the person occupying the structure being, I don't want to say it's not being rehabbed, it's being, finished out, is also the contractor.
Right.
And so obviously we have a great working relationship with RJ Fight and all those things. I'm just concerned about the perception
Yeah.
of us giving money to the contractor who's also the person who's doing that. And how are we going to address that, just to make sure that we've kind of at least discussed it.
Yeah.
To make sure there's not that
Yeah, that's a
concern
good
from the
point.
general public, since we seem to be under a microscope. I want to make sure that we're crossing our I's and dotting our T's.
Sure. Yeah, it's a good point. I don't know, this will be a very rare occasions that we're going to come across this. Obviously, like you said, we have a great working relationship with RJ Fight. And it's hard because I doubt that you probably went out for bid on your own project. It would be kind of weird, other than probably on your sub side, maybe you worked on them a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. And we also did so if you take a look at Trinity, for example, we also just got awarded that job as well too, which is the same square footage as my building, almost exactly the same layout. So, and the numbers are almost exactly the same. I think mine's a couple of $1,000s cheaper, but just from that standpoint. So it basically, the pricing basically came from just standard construction pricing that we use every day. And that's kind of where all those numbers came from. So,
okay. I'm trying to think, Joel, if there's a methodology we could use in the future when we get kind of in this situation that, says, all right, is there, a standard set of numbers that we can compare against, to what they're applying for? Yeah, I don't know the answer to that.
It's hard because we would never hold we have not up to this point held another applicant to that standard, getting multiple bids.
Actually, we did. Helotes Tactical, when he did the finish out.
Not getting multiple bids though.
Oh, not getting multiple bids, no, but he did all of the work himself.
Okay.
Okay.
But how did you do that one, Glenn?
So he, obviously the applicant in that scenario was not a contractor, just the tenant building, business owner. So he donated his time and he showed, receipts from everything he purchased. And he did have 2 subs, I think, that he had to use, and he had to show those, invoices and bank statements or cancel checks. So yeah, if he went to Home Depot and bought 30 sheets of sheetrock, he turned in, an invoice or a receipt from Home Depot showing that he made that purchase.
This is kind of weird because it's going to kind of go full circle back to RJ Fight. But maybe if we get in a situation like that where we do have somebody that's doing their own work, or another contractor that's doing their own work, we may get you to actually kind of verify their bids as well. Because I don't know how often you're going to be the one actually coming up again. So that may be something that we set as at least a way to check to say, is this looking in reason?
yeah, we can do comparisons against any bid that's out there. So
Yeah.
we can run them side by side.
One of the big checks on it is most people are having to take out a loan for this amount of money, right, to do the work. And so I don't see them wanting to take out more loan than they have to. So that's kind of one way it's always going to be there to kind of as a backstop.
So would we, I don't want to say employ or for a fee, but he would, in essence, for future stuff, they would be an advisor to that bid, just to advise
Yeah, I
if
think,
it's within reason. Is that what we're?
yeah, I think it's an easy thing to do, for Glenda, if somebody's applying, just to say that these unit prices at least make sense, because most of the time it's, it's hard for us to ever justify the quantity, because we're not gonna go out there and actually measure
Right.
things up. So all we can go off is by that unit price side of it, and say, is that unit price within line of what today's
From his perspective, though, I wouldn't want to be checking everybody's bids
Yeah.
for free either. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, he's not in the business of reviewing people's bids for free either. So I don't know what that looks like. Maybe we'll work that
Yeah.
out behind the scenes with some other type of agreement, but
Yeah, I think what we do is do it on a case by case basis when they come up. Let's figure out, is this somebody doing the work or having somebody contract the work? And then we'll have to figure out if it is somebody doing their own work again, and we'll have to, a way to check it.
so there was no profit with Helotes Tactical though,
Correct.
because he did the work himself. He couldn't, because he doesn't have a contractor license, he couldn't submit anything like that.
Which is good, right? Can take the profit side out of it. That might actually bring it down a little bit. Good discussion. As far as I like the detail on the invoice itself, and it's gives out pretty much all the detail that you would need to understand what the amount is. And is this at this point, is this 100% complete?
No, it's, right now we're about 50, probably a little bit less than 50%, waiting for some inspections from the city, and then, we'll be finishing up, sheet rock and flooring and stuff like that.
Okay, so Glenn, how do we do it? So he has a total approved amount, right, from our initial approval?
He qualifies for the maximum
Right.
grant amount in the program.
So does the maximum get paid out right on the first invoice, or since it's at the maximum already?
The way it's structured is he's required to get a CLO from the city, so it
Okay,
has to be completed
Okay.
before he can request reimbursement.
okay. So at this point, we're approving this invoice, I guess? I mean, or we,
Were you just approving the grant like every other tenant, not to
Okay.
exceed 20,000, with the requirement that he has to show spending 40,000 or more in improvements?
Okay.
Because it's over 10,000, it'll be on the subsequent council agenda, I think, May 9th.
okay.
Mr. Fight, is this, so this invoice you have here, this estimate, these are standard prices, like as if I put in a quote, it's just, okay, it's not just materials or anything?
No, right, exactly. It's the full, as if I was quoting somebody else. So.
All right, very good.
How difficult would it be for you when submitting documentation to Glenn for reimbursement and whether this is kept private? I don't know how that's gonna work legally, because obviously this is his pricing, right? But to have it be a little more detailed as far as, hey, these are all the materials that we purchased, and here's that receipt in essence from wherever you're getting those from, to where it's not just on your letterhead, but something that's coming from the whatever facility you bought it from, right? To try to have some
Yeah, but we can, I mean, yeah. the
additional
the material-
documentation there.
Yeah, the material receipts and stuff I can submit over to Glenn and.
Just
and
as
get
part of
because,
Yeah,
Like I was telling Glenn earlier today, I said, I think I'm already 21,000 in already, so, and I'm 50% done, or a little bit under 50%, so. Yeah, I mean, I've been saving the receipts, so keeping track of everything.
Mhm.
So I have all the material costs and everything on it.
It's just a unique situation since it's a contractor.
Chiropractor.
I think we're doing it correctly though, by the checks and balances is through material purchasing.
Yeah.
That's the best way to do it.
I'm not-
Because your labor costs are your labor costs.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
And I can submit those receipts to Glenn when I submit the COs.
All right, very good discussion. So with that, Joe, I believe you had the motion for action of approval. So you're still good with the motion?
I am, yeah, we just, if we can amend to add, to include additional documentation when submitting for reimbursement.
Okay, do I have a second to that amendment, Mr. Lane?
I'll second.
Okay, so a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion passes. So really, that is the end of our items for individual consideration. back here. So we'll move on to our staff report. So this is updates. We'll have first in the Helotes Visitor and Business Center. Glenn, you're up.
All right. So even though it doesn't look like a lot's happening, we're kind of in a, I would say a transition phase because we need to find temporary office, which we have been looking for last 3 months. We were fortunate last week. In fact, I think a space came available in our center that we can get into at a very reasonable rate. And so I've reached out to the chamber to see if they would be willing to continue doing their monthly sublease agreement. Because if that's the case, it's only going to cost, well, I think it's $1,200 for the lease is what he's willing to do. So, and the market price on that's $2,500.
Okay. And what do we currently pay?
We pay 32.
32. Okay.
Combined space.
Right.
Yeah. But when I went out for bid looking at hiring movers to get everything into storage and bringing it back, we had quotes anywhere from $3,000 to $7,000. Then plus we would have rental expense for temporary office space.
Right.
So I think overall, this is the cheapest option because all of our furniture and everything can go into the temporary suite. Our sign can transfer over and all that kind of stuff. So I kind of had that space on hold right now. I told them we would probably pull the trigger May 1st.
Okay. And then for y'all that don't know, it's there where the fitness center.
For Destination Fit.
Yeah, Destination Fit. So it's not, obviously going from a fitness center to an office transition is probably, it's not it's probably not our ideal, but we're hoping this is only for a 3-month.
And there's enough room for both.
2,100 square feet.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's actually a much larger space than we need. I think we've got a call into the landlord to see, would he entertain subdividing it? Save us even more money because it's actually 2 suites, but they took out the mountain wall.
And I don't even know, Glenn, if it'd be worth paying the price to move the whole sign over there. It may just put a sticker on the door that says we moved, 3
We
offices
may know
down.
someone.
That'd be pretty cool.
We got that.
Had that
We
too.
know someone that can help out.
Okay.
Move 2 suites, such and such.
Yeah. Yeah, 'cause, I mean, eventually that sign's getting retired anyways.
Exactly.
The center opens up, so.
Yeah, I reached out to Michael to see what the process and timeline is. And then we'll have to get the C of O, we'll have to call the power company and
How long it switched over.
stuff. Then get internet over there and that's kind of it.
Okay. And then, so just based upon where you think we're at today, what is a estimated
I think the
break
first.
walls date?
Well, so there's actually some discussion of people that would like to come with sledgehammers.
It's gonna be a party.
Yeah,
Let's do it.
Demo party, probably the first part of May. I
okay,
mean, let's see how the next couple of weeks go. We got to get stuff boxed up and at least signed and then move over.
good. Just any update? I know we'll talk a little bit on the building committee, but the building evaluation committee, as far as like budget wise, we still looking okay?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
Right now, it's actually looking really good. We've got, had some additional arm twisting.
All right.
From help from some board members.
Thank you, Director Hayden.
Yeah. It's good to have contacts around Helotes. So no, that part's looking good.
Okay.
I know our brick paver program is kind of the next thing that we're getting ready to launch. And hey, the screen works today. That banner image will be changed out tomorrow. So we'll have a picture of the traffic circle so you can actually see kind of the ring of bricks. But this, for the most part right now, is kind of our landing page to advertise the sale of the bricks. They're $150. We tried to keep it relatively simple as far as what you can put on our brick, what the proceeds are benefiting. And then it's a simple 4-step process. The first one is just putting your contact information. The next step is actually putting in your text and it'll tell you the number of characters. There's 3 lines. and then payment process confirmation and done. So the system will keep track of everything, and once we have X number of bricks, 50 bricks, then we can process the order and get those coming in.
So this goes live tomorrow?
I can make it go live tomorrow, Friday, yeah.
Yeah,
And then once we have that live, the bricks are 150, so we did. I'm so sorry. We'll put up a donation jar for you. And then we'll also gonna be working on a sign for the traffic circle in Old Town to have a QR code and help promote this as well. And then leads into the sculpture that this is helping fund. I know one of our audience members went out and got a sneak peek, which I'm kind of jealous. But I talked to Esther this afternoon, and things are moving along. She'll have a better update kind of in toward July. She anticipates being done September to October timeframe. But she said it's looking good. She hasn't had any artist block.
Head, hands for the cowboy, two of the horse's legs.
awesome.
What's
Skeletal
the,
right now.
since we're talking about the circle, has that been sorted out yet?
It's closer to sorted, so we did get to meet with a contractor, read through the city's concerns on it, and I met with a contractor with Glenn. Went through what we read by the code, and it looks like we're clear on it. I just need to get Public Works Department to agree with it on it. But from what I read in the code and know as far as the code, as far as site distance and clearance goes, the wall sits below 3.5 foot, which is driver's eye height while you're sitting in the car. So regardless of where that wall's at, you can see over it at any point, regardless of how wide it is. So I believe we're going to be good. So hopefully that won't be cleared up.
And then what helps on that too is that the sculpture is partially see-through, right?
Yeah.
It's a wire sculpture, so.
Yeah. So yeah, hopefully we'll have that done. And just thinking about timing on it, Glenn, and going live with this, I don't know if we want to get so far ahead of this though that, because we're gonna have to finish the sculpture out before we start changing bricks out.
Oh, yes.
So just want to be careful of getting everybody's expectations of we're selling them bricks and then they're like, hey, where's my brick? Where's my brick?
He's gonna have 2,100 square feet to store 'em in temporarily.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we can actually put a date, an anticipated date.
Yeah.
And I want to say, yeah, we put on here right now, fall 2024.
Okay. I think it's fine.
So.
As long as those
Summer.
expectations.
And then will this be a continuing thing? I mean, are we
Until
gonna,
it sells out, yeah.
I mean, but do we have to order a certain number before they ship, or how's it?
They want a minimum 5 bricks, so it's a pretty
Oh, that's-
low from Polar Brick engraving.
Yeah.
They're one of the best.
Comes down to more of an install, what is a number of install that makes the economy of scale work?
Right.
Right, it is.
Oh, we might know somebody. Yeah, we'll as long as we're staying within a reasonable budget, I think we'll be okay on the install side.
Yeah, it'd just be swapping them out.
Yeah. Yeah, and walking a circle, I haven't been in there for a while. The existing bricks, as long as they've been there, are still in very, very good shape. So we watched, I know part of the Public Works concern was about large tractor trailers, 18-wheelers being able to maneuver around there. And we actually had the opportunity to actually sit there and watch one do it. And
But the circle's like way inside of the curve anyway.
right, yeah, but the truck was able to maneuver around the entire circle without even going on. There's a little truck apron before you have the bricks, and it didn't even need that apron. So it stayed totally within the pavement. So I feel really good. Yeah, there's nothing that we could do, whether how big the circle was, even if we made it 2 foot in diameter, to prevent somebody trying to go across the whole thing. I mean, that's always possible. You just can't stop. Can't stop. Sometimes stupid. So that's just the way it is. Okay. Any other update on that?
No, that's it.
Okay. And then that kind of covers our art grant that specifically to this project.
The program has 2 other components.
Okay.
In it, we can do murals. I'm trying to remember what the other one was. I think it was a small art project. So there is still funding I guess, available in the line item, but when we approved the major sculpture, we kind of discussed putting those. on
Pause.
hold.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Get one done. Let's get one under the belt and then we'll look at the next. Then I know when it comes, especially murals, there'll be a lot of discussion about location. And then that's going to be the biggest thing. Okay. Well, thank you for the staff report. Got any other questions from directors? No, without that, without further questions, then we are adjourned at 7:32.
Quick meeting.